Okay, so my name is Charles, and then it is good to have you this evening. So last week I gave us an assignment to do. How many of you remember the assignment? I need a response. How many of us here remember the assignment, and how many attempted to do it?
So this is a class, so everybody must talk. I think it's better we call everybody's name since we are not much, and then let's hear from everybody. The people that are not there, Mr. Charles, sir, you ask them why they are not around, and so that we can know the position of everybody.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's start with Mr. Goodtunes. I think he's on the top list from here. I can see. Mr. Goodtunes, can you answer us, sir? Can you, Mr. Charles asked a question, so can you?
Yes. Okay, actually last week I was busy or through, so but I followed the recorded part. So I didn't attempt the assignment actually. So I'm hopeful that today I will add to more of my knowledge. Then I will try and cover up that of last week's assignment and possibly what will be given today.
Okay, let's hear from you. What's the idea of the assignments that we're talking about, so that we can be sure that we're on the same page? Can you just brief us what the assignment is all about?
Okay, I think he said we should follow the same process of the HTML tags to form a basic website also.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, let me come in here, please. Let me come in here. Hello.
Okay, please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Admin, let me come in here. First of all, Mr. Goodtunes, you did not get the assignment I gave you. But before I make my comments, general comments, I would like to hear from everybody. Okay, Mr. Vilonji, I don't know that. What's that? Did you do the assignments, please? Vilonji. Oh, the guy is gone. Okay. Abi, is he scared? Okay.
Well, let's assume it's coincidence. Coincidence happens sometimes.
Yes, Oni
of course. Once he comes back, we are still directing the question to him.
Exactly. Oni Bani Daniel.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was not around last week because I traveled because of my work. I just got back yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Okay, fine. Now, Mr. Yomi Davidson, we don't have enough time, so let's rush it. Yomi Davidson. Yomi Davidson is not responding.
Mr. Yomi, can you hear us? Mr. Yomi, can you hear us?
Okay, Mr. Oluwatosin, Hope.
No, I think she's a Miss Oluwatosin.
Okay,
oh,
because
sorry.
I was going to take offense. Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. Good
evening.
I could not even attend the class for last week because I wasn't around. And where I went to, there wasn't network there. I just got back. And I've been trying to even subscribe. I just got to subscribe this evening. So I could not check the video for last week.
Okay.
So yes. So hopefully this night, I would check on it and see what you people have done so far.
Okay.
Well, you're welcome, but the verdict is in the hand of an instructor. So any verdict he gives, we leave it to him. Well, you're welcome.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Vilon G, you are around now. So did you do the assignments yesterday?
During the week, sir, not yesterday.
During the week. So sorry. Mr. Vilon G, can you hear me? Miss or Mr.? I don't know your gender. Okay, admin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move on. So everybody listen. I'm talking this way because we are on a budget of time. Time is a great resource that will not afford to waste. We are on a very limited time. Now, let me tell you something that is a policy statement in this or in what you have signed up to do. Can everybody hear me? Mr. Goodtunes, can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Charles, I'm with you.
Oluwatosin, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yomi Davidson. So somebody is joining now. Sunday, can you hear me? Okay, so the ones that can hear me, listen very, very well. Programming is a special endeavor. Quote me anywhere. Programming is special. It's special because the statement practice makes perfect comes to play there entirely, 100%. You will not, and I repeat, you will not amount to anything in this endeavor if you don't set out time to practice, no matter how small. In programming, you either know it or you don't. There is no I know small, I don't know small. No, it doesn't work. Okay. You either know it or you are willing to learn, and then the one singular capacity that is demanded of you is ability to practice. So please let that be at the back of your mind. It's not English language. It's not social studies. It's not literature. It involves practicing. Pay close attention from now on, because we are going into the big deal. After this week, after this Saturday, from next Saturday, we are going into the big deal. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's nice. That's good.
I gave us a web link, and I said, go to that web link and use it to study more about HTML tags. That's just what I said. Study more of HTML tags, because we did HTML last week. So let me share my screen at this point. Please, admin, can you enable me? I want to share my screen.
Yeah, I have just done that. So I've made you the host now, so you can admit anybody that is on the waiting room anytime you see them. Can you hear me, Mr. Charles? Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Are you there, Mr. Charles?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think we lost him. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you from my end.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I think we lost him. But there's no problem. While we are waiting for him to come, just like the way you said, programming is something that's it's great, it's fun. We are just starting. By the time we start going into deep sections of programming, that's when you start seeing the beauty of software development. It makes you think. I see programming as an art. It depends on how far you can think. There is no limit to what you can do as a software developer. I think we have him back here. Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Mr. Charles, are you with me? Okay, while we are waiting for him, maybe I should share.
Hello, admin.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
No, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, my network. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. So please, you can take it up from here, sir.
I can hear you.
Yeah, so I said you can take it up from here, sir. So I've made you a co-host, so you can take it up from
Please
here.
enable me for screen sharing.
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that, sir. Now, you can go ahead. You can go ahead. You can share your screen. Can you hear me, Mr. Charles? Are you there, Mr. Charles? I wonder why we have challenge with him, but there's no problem. Can everybody see my screen? Let me share my screen with you guys. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. Maybe
Yes, I can see your screen.
okay. Maybe I should just start up with us before he comes, so that we will not waste time because of the time frame that we have. So he started by introducing HTML with us, and I think he has done justice to a bigger level of it. His intention for today is to conclude HTML and commence CSS with us, and then see how far he can run on CSS because of the short time frame that we have. Hope we can hear me.
Yes, we
Loud
can.
and clear.
Okay, great.
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, great. Now,
sorry. So, okay. Okay, are we going now?
Yes, please. Yeah, you can go ahead now.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
We
Yes,
can hear you.
Okay, can you also see my screen?
No, we can't. Not yet.
Hello?
Not yet. We can't see your screen, Mr. Charles.
Okay, can you see the source code on my screen now?
No, we are not seeing your screen yet.
Okay.
We are not seeing your screen yet, Mr. Charles. Are you there, Mr. Charles? I wonder why we keep losing him with this network. Okay, no problems. Let me go ahead until he's back. so that we will not have, we will not waste too much of the time. So can we see my screen now? Can we see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and continue. Now, there are some basic things that we need to know at the tip of our fingers as users of computer system or the computer, or as software developers. We should know how to create a folder. I'm sure everybody understands, because I'm looking at, like, starting from the very basics. Hope everybody understands how to create a folder. Now let's create a new folder and to do whatever I want to do in our folder. The purpose of creating folders is for us to be able to organize our work. If we organize, if we put them, it makes us organize our work without any stress. Hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes,
you
yes,
guys
we
I
can
can
see.
still see your screen.
Okay, great. So I go to open folder. I want to create a new folder. This is the same Sublime. This is the same Sublime text editor that Mr. Charles introduced us to. So I want to create my folder. You can decide to create a folder anywhere. Let me create it in htdocs. Can you guys hear me? And can you guys still see my screen?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Now let me create a new folder here and call it let me call it lesson. So this is where we intend to drop all our work. Now I'm selecting lesson as my root folder that I want to do anything I want to do, I want to work on. Now I pick the select folder. Now what it has done now is to create a lesson folder for me that I should start my work. So now let me create a new file. Now, of course, I can call the file anything I like, but most times it's always good we use descriptive names, because when you're developing, you have several kinds of files that are doing different kinds of things. So it's more easier for you if you give them names that are descriptive. Let me assume that we want to create a registration form. Okay, well, let me start from the very basic. Let's assume that we want to do simple simple addition. I want this page to do a simple addition for me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can we all hear me?
Yes,
I can hear you.
you.
Okay,
But the
great.
problem is
Now
that your screen is I don't know. I'm not showing.
You're not
I'm
seeing my
not seeing
screen?
anything. It's blank.
It's blank. It's just blank. So that's the problem.
Yeah. It's, okay, I'm typing something there now. Can you see what I typed?
No, it's just blank. It's blank. I can't see anything inside.
It's still blank.
Yes.
Mr. Charles, are you there? Let me reshare my screen again. Let me reshare my screen again.
I'm here.
Okay, are you there, Mr. Charles?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, sorry for your network. Okay, please, you can go ahead now. You can go ahead.
Okay. So let me share my screen now. What is the problem now? Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes.
The Sublime text, right?
Yes.
Very good. So Oluwatosin, can you see this screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So this is what we did last week, and you're not here, right?
Yes.
Oluwatosin, were you here last week?
I wasn't.
Okay, so this is what we did. This was what we did. Okay. So
Okay.
now, yes. So now we are going to take it off from here. We're going to look at some very important parts of this HTML document known as attributes. We're going to look at attributes and how to use attributes. And then we're going to look at CSS. Then we'll round up. Already our time is fast spent, but we are going to move as fast as we can. Good. So, attributes are very important part of an element. Attributes this is attributes. Is a very important part of an element. You see, you cannot give a straightforward definition of what an attribute is because there are several functions of an attribute in a document. Okay? Please
Mr.
respond to me. I want to show you.
Mr. Charles, Mr. Charles, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, so sorry, I will still I have to be interfering once in a while. I'll be putting myself in the position of the trainees, and then I'll be asking 1 or 2 questions so that I can carry everybody along.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So can you just please quickly recap the meaning of a document, because we have said 2 important things now. We talked about documents, we talked about elements. Then before the attributes that you want to talk about now. So can you just briefly brief the house about what a document means, or just to remind the house, and then what an element means?
Okay, so a document is simply the body of the HTML. What you are seeing here in front of you there on your screen, where I'm hovering my mouse from basically from line 2 to line 64 is called a document. Okay, basically that's the definition. Where line 2 is called this place, line 2 is what we call, let me write it down, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the root document, the root element. The root element of the document. You see, now the structure guiding the document, is what we call the DOM. DOM, the document object model. We'll get into that when we are doing JavaScript and jQuery. Okay, now that is the definition. Then an element is simply a tag and its content. A tag and its content. So the entire line 16 is an element, line 17 is an element. It consists of the opening tag, the contents of the tag, and the closing tag. That is defined as an element. I say example or e.g. of an element. Is that clear?
Yes,
Please,
sir.
let's answer. If it's not clear, let's ask questions.
Yes, it's clear.
The beautiful thing about what we are doing is that it is recorded. So you can, if you don't understand, you ask me. If it's something you can revisit and you watch it again, then you'll be cool. Okay.
So Mr. Charles,
Yes.
if I get you very well, because I want to be putting myself in the position of the trainees. Now, if I get you very well, the entire contents of a web page can be regarded as a document.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Good. Now, an attribute is simply a part of an element that enhances the behavior of that element, or that extends. Okay, an attribute Let me create another line. Oh boy. An attribute enhances the function or behavior of an element. Now I introduce an attribute last week, but let me show you a very simple attribute on line 2. Language, English, EN. That's the LANG that is attached to line 2 opening tag is called an attribute. The car set attached to the meta tag on line 4 is an attribute. The type attached to the style opening tag in line 6 is an attribute. The href attached to the anchor opening tag on line 26 is an attribute. Follow me as we go down. The src attached to the image tag on line 48 is an attribute. The alt on same line 48, the width, the height are all attributes. The method attached to the opening tag of form element on line 51 is an attribute. An attribute is included in an element to enhance the function or behavior of that particular element. Is that clear?
Can we hear? Can we hear? Is it clear? Hello, is it clear?
It's clear. It's clear.
Okay, great. Mr. Sunday, are you there, sir? Mr. Sunday, can you hear me? Okay, Mr. Daniel, from the screen that you're seeing, can you list 3 different kinds of elements that you can see from the screen?
Okay, I can see in line 6, type.
He said element.
Aha, so element. We're talking about
element, not attribute.
Elements, not attributes. Okay, great. Okay, great. We'll still come back there. Mr. Joshua, are you there, sir? Mr. Joshua, can you hear me? Okay, Deborah, can you hear me? Miss Deborah, can you hear me? Miss Deborah, can you hear me? Mr. Gutuns, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Can you list 3 kinds of elements that you can see from your screen?
Okay. Line 4. Line 4 is an element because it has the tag and the characters, right? And the content rather, sorry. Am I right?
Okay, now let's look at it from this perspective. Now, you can a man, you can let's look at elements like something, an entity, like take for instance a man.
Yes.
Now a man has eyes, right?
Yes.
He has ears. He has nose. These are attributes. These are components of, you understand, of a man. Now take for instance, now we have the H1 tag in the body of the document. You have the H tag there. You understand? So the entire content of that very particular tag, you see there's entire element. So the attributes are the things that the components that is attached to that very particular element. I don't know
Okay.
if you guys understand what I'm trying to say.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, Mr. Charles, can you just can you throw more light to it or continue from there? But I want it to be discussional so that we can be, you
We
know,
can
you
grasp it.
understand, and then
Yeah.
everybody will carry it along.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the last person that spoke now, everything you see here is an element. Aside for line 1. Okay. Take for instance line 17. It has opening tag. It has a closing tag. It has a content in between. This is an element, line 17. Line 2 is an element because it has opening tag. It has content from line 3 down to line 64. Then it closes on line 65. On line 54, label is an element because it has an opening tag. It has a content in between. It has a closing tag. Line 55 is a self-closing tag. It has an opening tag, then it has contents in them. I told you some tags are self-closing. These things may appear as if they are too much for now, but they are the simplest thing on earth. By practicing, whatever he tells you to do, you do it. That's how results come. Okay? So that is it. So let's look at our attributes. I'm going to introduce some attributes. With that, we go into what is called CSS. Is that clear?
It's okay.
I mean, is it clear?
It is clear.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay. So the attributes I'm going to introduce here will be very useful. We're going to be using them in CSS because there are many attributes, tags that are present in HTML. We cannot look at all of them. So let's look at the most important ones, okay? Okay. Oluwatonsin. Wow. She just left. 9. Okay. Attributes I'm going to introduce here. First of all, the first one is called a class. The second one is called the ID. Are you all there?
Yeah, we're with you.
Following.
I mean, okay, good. The first one is called the class. Second one is called the ID. Now, these elements or these attributes can exist in any tag, and they are almost and always attached to the opening tag of an element by law, by default, by rule of engagement. They can be found on the opening tag of an element. Now, how does that work? This is your element on line 18. You want to add a class on line 18. You position your cursor where my cursor is right now. Mind you, on any element, you give a space, type class. Of course, when you type class, your editor will highlight class, and on the right-hand side, it will write attributes, ATTR. ATTR means attributes. An attribute must have a value. When you press enter key, it completes it for you and expects you to give a value to the attribute. What is the main function of this class and ID attribute? It is used to manipulate the DOM. The DOM is the document object model, talking about the entire document. The entire HTML document is used to manipulate it by JavaScript and by CSS. So before we do that, let's give our class a value. Now, a value, I heard the admin talking about creating folders and files and then giving it a descriptive name. You can give your class any name of your choice, any value of your choice. You can name it give it a value that is very descriptive, because in large web applications, there will be too many classes and too many IDs. Okay, so now let's just give it a value of heading, because we are trying to initialize it on the heading tag. Please, do you have any questions so far?
This is a discussional. This is a discussional class, so let's contribute. Do we have questions? If we have, let's see. If we don't have, let's see.
We don't have. Let's go on, please.
Okay,
not for my end for now.
For my end, I was meant to understand that the class has an attribute that must have a value that is used to manipulate the DOM. Can we give a specific example of what a DOM is?
First of all, the class does not have an attribute. The class is the attribute.
Okay.
The class is the attribute. We say we have introducing two major attributes. One, class. Two, ID. And on line 18, I gave a very specific example on how to use a class within a tag.
Okay.
Is that? Any other question? Yeah. Or is it clear?
It's clear.
On line 18 rather, not 19.
On line 18, you see how I introduced an attribute called class, and I gave it a value called heading.
Okay.
Now, on line 19, attribute called ID. If you watch, as soon as I typed the ID, my editor suggested that I'm trying to introduce an attribute. The ID I'm trying to write here is actually an attribute. So I'll press the key, what's it called? Yes. I'm going to press it, and then it's going to complete it. Now let me give it a value. Remember, you can give it a value of your choice. but I'm going to describe in a minute the difference between class and ID. Of course, it seems like they do the same thing, but there's a sharp contrast, okay? Because we're going to use it right now, and you're going to see how it works. Now, because it's on heading 2, let me just say heading 2. Then I save. Now, what's the difference between class and ID? The difference between class and ID is that on line 18, the attribute class can be used as many times as possible within a document. What do I mean? The attribute class with the value heading, the same heading, can be used in numerous parts of your document. Example, I can copy the same thing on line 18, the same attribute on line 18, and I will paste it on line 22, the same thing. But I cannot copy that on line 19 and paste it anywhere, which means IDs are unique, classes are reusable. I just saw something there that you should note down. Classes are reusable, while IDs are unique. This is a rule. Do we understand?
Yes.
Classes are reusable, IDs are unique. So without further dwelling on attributes, let's step into CSS and see how we can use the attributes. Okay. So I'm going to be writing some things which I'm going to delete. I'm going to delete them. I know you can go back and see since it's recorded. Admin, I hope this is being recorded. Are we recording it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, good. I'm going to delete this. So now we are entering into CSS.
Does anybody know the full meaning of CSS? I think we have talked about it before. Can anybody just remind us the meaning of CSS? The full meaning of CSS. Is there anybody that wants to try?
Okay. Do anybody want to try?
Yeah. Cascading style sheet.
Yeah, great. It's great. So what does it do? What is its function?
Okay.
What is it?
Did anybody try?
Yeah, he just said it now. Can you repeat what you said?
Cascading style sheet.
Admin, did anybody try?
Can't you hear him? He just said it. Please, can you repeat what you said?
Cascading style sheet.
Can you hear now, Mr. Charles?
Okay. Yes.
So can you tell us what it is? Can you tell us what it is used for? Can you briefly explain what it's used for? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you briefly explain what is its work, what it is used for, what we use it for?
maybe formatting color or something.
Abi? Okay, that's wonderful. But at least you have tried. You gave us a subset of what it does.
Right.
Does,
Thank you.
does okay. Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Mr. Charles, are you there? As the name implies, cascading style sheet. You see the work of styles there? It is used to style your document, your web page. Mr. Charles, are you there? Mr. Charles, can you hear us? Hope you have not lost him. Mr. Charles, are you there? Okay, while we are waiting for him, it's about introducing us to CSS, which is an acronym for cascading style sheets. You know, just like the way we said before, HTML is just used to give the structure of a web of a web page. It doesn't give you any, it doesn't look beautiful in itself. It's just to give you. Mr. Charles, are you back here?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, great. So you can continue.
All right. So it means CSS means cascading style sheet. You see, as we start writing CSS, you are going to see why it's called cascading style sheets. And CSS, I overheard the admin talking about giving a structure. That's right. CSS is the presentational layer of the progressive enhancement. Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes,
We can hear you.
I want everybody, can everybody hear me? Let me see the people here. We are 9 here.
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm following.
Okay, let me call your names. I want to be very sure. Mr. Sunday, can you hear me? Mr. Sunday, can you hear me? Okay. Onibani, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Olawale Okube, can you hear me? Joshua Ojed.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, Google Tools, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
You can hear me. Deborah,
Yes.
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oluwatosi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Very, very good. So I said CSS is the presentational layer of the progressive enhancements. Last week, we introduced HTML and we said it is the structural layer of the progressive enhancements. There are 3 layers of progressive enhancements. Please listen very carefully. 3 layers of progressive enhancements. 1, the structure. 2, the presentation. 3, the behavior. Now, the structural layer is controlled by HTML. And at this point, I said it's like a building built with blocks and cement. It does not matter the beauty that the architect intends to build. Block and cement will not bring out the beauty. It forms the skeletal part. No matter how beautiful a man or a woman is, if you see the skeleton of that woman, you will not go near her. Is that true?
I agree
Very
with you on
correct, sir.
that. I agree
Yes,
with you
no
on
matter
that.
how beautiful your wife or your sister or whosoever is, no matter how handsome your husband or whatever is, once their skeleton is what is remaining, you will not go near it. But that is the most important structural part of that being. That is the job of HTML and is the first layer of the progressive enhancement. Then secondly, presentation, which is controlled by CSS. Sorry, CSS. This controls the aesthetics of that building. The building has been finished structurally, but there's no roof. Now there's a green roof. There's a purple paint. I don't know if that is possible to paint a house, that kind of. There are flowers everywhere. There's a very beautiful gate. Then you can now appreciate the house. CSS is a technology built to add aesthetics, presentation, and beauty to a web application. Number 3 is behavior. In most houses, some houses are sophisticated. When you are like 3 poles away, the owner of the house can see you. The doors are remote controlled. Once you enter the house or the bedroom, a song starts to sing. These days, we call it a smart house. That is the 3rd layer of progressive enhancement. And that is called the behavior. That means bringing intelligence, behavior in a web application. And that language or that aspect can be controlled by any intelligent language, but the default language here is JavaScript. That is bringing interactivity, the way you interact with Instagram, the way you interact with Facebook, or any other intelligent application out there. I hope this is clear. Do you have any question before we move on?
Very clear.
Very good. All right. So today, I'm going to introduce you briefly into the 2nd layer of progressive enhancement. We hope that by coming Saturday to the upper one, we go into the 3rd aspect of progressive, which is the behavior, JavaScript. Okay. Presentation. Now, there are 3 main ways to write your CSS. As a matter of fact, CSS is included into your web application in 3 ways. Before we do that, let us view this present document on a browser. I showed us last week, you head to the root folder where you saved your work. In my own case, it's on desktop and it's on a folder I called Web Pro Class. Web Pro Class, this is it. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Yes, I can see your
Okay.
screen.
Okay. So I have so many files here. Okay, this is the index.html. I open with my Chrome. I like Chrome. Good. So if you can see my screen, this is the present structure of our web documents. We are going to do a lot of things on this using CSS. Good. Before I do that, okay, I think, okay, let's just go ahead that way. Where's what's this? Oh, sorry. Okay, it's where we are. Good. So before I go into telling you different ways to add CSS to your web documents, let me define or tell you the structure of a CSS. CSS involves a block of code that has two parts. Okay. CSS is made up of a rule. A rule is made up of a property and a value. On line 16, you can see what I wrote there. Can we all see that? Line 16.
Yes.
This is very, 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 very important. It's as important as telling you that HTML is made up of tags. CSS is made up of a rule. And a rule is made up of property and a value. Keep that by the side. Let's go on. Keep that definition by the side. We are coming back to it. Ways to add CSS to a document. 1. Inline CSS. 2. Internal CSS. 3. External CSS. The inline CSS, which is number 1 way, and a very discouraged way. Discouraged, but it's important sometimes. But it's not very encouraged, but it's important you know it. Because once in a while, we'll use it. But you don't use it mostly, always. And now you will see how and why. Inline CSS is added as an attribute to an element. So an inline CSS will affect an element per time. When you say inline, you are adding it within the particular tag. Internal, you are adding it on a particular page. External, you are adding it outside the document and then link it into the document. Don't be confused by this. Let me take it one after the other. Inline CSS. Now, fix your eyes on line 20. Fix your eyes on line 20 and see what happens there. Bearing the definition I gave you on line 16 in mind. Put your eyes on line 20. Style. Do you all see what I wrote on line 20?
Yes, I can see.
I added an attribute called style. And I added color. I said red. This is called inline CSS. Example of inline CSS. What we just said here to this line 20 is this: browser, turn whatever is on line 20 to the color red. So let's go to the browser and see if the browser will obey this rule. It's a rule. Line 20 should be, okay, anyone that turns red, we want to assume. Did you notice what happened? Are there people there?
Yes,
Hello?
yes.
Okay, at this point again, I want to ask everybody. Mr. Sunday, are you there now?
Mr. Sunday, are you there?
Okay, Mr. Daniel, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you 100%.
Can you see what happened on line 220 now on the browser?
Yes, I can see on the third line, it's changed to red.
Okay.
Because of the
Oluwatosin,
command.
can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Deborah, can you see that?
Yes, I can see it.
Google Tools, can you see? Everybody?
Yeah, yes, we can see.
Mr. Sunday, it's like you are back. Okay. I'm happy that majority of you can see it. So let's go ahead. Now, this is a classical example of inline CSS. Now, let us add another rule. We say color red. This time, let us increase the size. Let us increase the size. Now,
Sorry to cut you short, so that we can be, because there are some terms that we might be using and we can familiarize ourselves with those terms. If style is attributes, Mr. Joshua, what is color? If we call style an attribute of, like, if on line 20 now, let's place our eyes on line 20, the H3 elements, the other element, the H3 elements. Now, if style is our attribute, Mr. Joshua, what is color code? Somebody, so can okay, Mr. Joshua.
I can hear you. I can hear
Mr.
you.
Wale, it's like that noise is coming from you. Mr. Wale, are you there?
I am here.
Okay,
I can hear you.
Okay, great. I don't know. I think the noise is coming from somewhere. Okay, I think it's fine now. So, Mr. Joshua, are you there?
Yes. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, if the on line 20, the H3
Yes.
element, if style is called an attribute, what is color code?
I forgot something. We have to give a value. I've forgotten the name.
Okay,
Yes.
I mean, Mr. Wale. Okay, Mr. Wale, if style is an attribute, what is color code?
Value.
Value. I'm not too sure about that. Is anybody have a contrary opinion? If style is an attribute, what is, okay, if you say value is color, then what is red?
What is red?
Yeah, what is red called? What is the name given to red?
I can't recall.
Okay, great. I think it's better so that we can carry ourselves along. I think it's great. Okay, Mr. Daniel, what do you think? Okay, sir. Mr. Daniel, what is color called if style is attribute?
Is it not a rule?
The rule is the general Deborah, do you have an idea if style is attribute, what is color code?
I don't think I know it.
Okay, let's he has said it before, maybe it skipped our mind, so we can, because these are terms that will always be making reference to. Now let's look at line 16. I think it is still there, and it's clear enough there. CSS is made up of a rule. A rule is made up of property, that's CSS now, property and value. So color is called the property. Red is the value of the color property. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yes,
Okay,
I can hear
great.
you.
So when we say property next time, you should have an understanding of what we should be making reference to. And when we say value, so in this case, style is the attributes of the H3 elements, color is the property, while value is while red is the value of the property color.
Sorry, at what point in time do we at what point in time do we give the, what do you call it, the size in terms of what do you call it, giving the object size in terms of pixel or width and height?
Okay, great. I think that's a little further to where, of course, when we get there, then we should be able to. Yeah, that's still in the future.
I think
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
idea of that. But I need to brush up.
Great. Yeah, great. Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to all those points today. So,
Okay.
instructor, sir.
Yes.
Please, yeah, you can go ahead, sir. I just wanted to chip in something.
Okay, so the thing is, the last person that spoke, as the admin rightly said, we have not gotten to that. And let me give you,
no problem.
let me give everyone a sincere suggestion and advice. Whatsoever you think you know, drop it and listen with a blank mind and ask intelligent questions as you have always done. Okay? Because there is much to learn, but you have the capacity to learn. Now, as the admin rightly said, I was meant to explain that further, because we are going to look at the three major ways, or the three only ways of adding CSS to your document. This is just one. So the color is the property, the red is the value. Very soon when we write internal CSS or external CSS, we are going to write the rule proper, because the rule, as a matter of fact, the rule is, I omitted one thing. It's made up of selector, property, and a value. So sorry, I just remembered that now. Selector, property, and a value. But what we wrote on line 20 is an inline CSS, which is a shortcut to write CSS. It does not involve a selector. We are going to see that shortly. So now you can write multiple property and value on inline CSS. So far, you can separate them with what we call a semicolon. Because we've made the color red, let us increase the font size. Font size, let's increase it to like 40 pixels, something very visible, so we can see the changes. You see, font size is another property. Then 50 pixel is a value of the property font size. Now let's see how that goes. I'm going to introduce maybe one more. Let's see it on the browser. Do we notice how the line 20 H3 elements just increased? in size?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can see that.
Very, very good. Now, let us use inline CSS to bring it to the center. Remember, when you finish one line of property and value rule, you introduce a semicolon to terminate that statement, to terminate it. Always remember to do that. Then let us center it. Say text align center. Text align, it means position this text to a certain place. You can say left, you can say right, you can say justify, you can say blah, blah, blah. But the rule here, center, left, right. So let us look at that. Can you all see what happened?
Yes, I can see.
Oluwatosi, can you see?
Yes.
Deborah.
Deborah is connected.
Oh. Sunday.
Sunday is disconnected.
Oh boy. Oh, how do we deal with this issue? I want everybody to be participating. Two people are not here. Okay. There's somebody who is Olawale Okukwe. Who is that, please? Who is
Mr. Wale, can you hear us?
Who is Mr. Joshua? Are you there, Joshua?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir. I'm here with you, sir.
Okay. Good tunes. I know you are there. Oluwatosin, you are there. Mr. Daniel. Is Mr. Daniel there?
Yes, I'm with you, sir.
Good. So 7 people are back. 2 more people are back. I wish everybody would just be here. Okay, let's see what we can do. Right. So if you all can see my screen, you notice how we manipulated and added color. You can change the color with CSS. Maybe I don't think this evening again. I think before we enter JavaScript, we are going to do what is called the hexadecimal color codes. Because as a programmer, you are not meant to be using purple, red, green, blue, white. They are codes that we use, okay, to generate colors in CSS. Can you see how we are manipulating this? Can they all see my screen?
Yeah, I can see your
So
screen.
we're seeing it.
Good. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me introduce one more. Oh, all right. Let me introduce one more. Let's say text transform. Text transform is capitalized. Okay, let's say uppercase. Now, I know some of you may be wondering, how will I know all these things? Text align, color, font size, text align. And how does he know all these things?
That's what is going through in my mind now, right now.
Are you sure? Are you sure I'm not making a mistake? What kind of thing is this one now?
I'm serious, because I'm getting confused.
Okay, mapping is actually the simplest thing in the world. I can tell you, as a matter of fact, that is where practice comes in. They are intuitive and self-descriptive. Don't you ever be confused. Don't you ever feel you are getting confused. You are not. It's the process. It's called learning process. Color simply means the color to give to the text. Font size simply means the size of the text. Text align, they will ask you, are you in alignment? Go and do tire alignment. Text align, how you want the text to be positioned, how you want the text to be transformed. You want it to be transformed into uppercase or capitalize it. You want this or that to happen. You see, by the time you start practicing it, it enters your finger. If you wake me up by 12 midnight, I will start writing CSS. Yes, it did not start now, and you are also on the journey. So never you be scared. I know that's the challenge you have. That's how we roll. Is that clear?
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's see text transform uppercase. It's going to transform the text to capital letters. Is that clear? Do you see that?
Yes,
Somebody, yes, one of my students was telling me in July that CSS is magic. I said, you've not seen anything. Wait until you get to JavaScript scripts, or wait until you get to programming. Then you see the true definition of magic. Okay, let's go on. So this is, as I said, on line 20, this is an example of inline CSS. Now, what you owe me is to go home and study these codes, study what we have done. Please, if you really want to be in this field, there is no other way to do it than to study. Study. Let me say this is heading 3. I want to change that. Let me add one more so that you don't feel text decoration underline. So you don't wonder, how does he know all these things now? How long will it take me? It will underline the text. Can you see that? As you're giving it instruction, he's doing it. That's why we call it a rule. Rule. It's a rule. Good. So that brings to an end the inline CSS way of adding CSS to your documents. Now, let us look at the internal CSS. You see, a web application is made up of parts, or what you can call pages, different pages of a web application. Now, the inline CSS, if you notice, is affecting only a particular tag that is on line 20. It cannot affect any other tag. Okay, but inline CSS, internal CSS will affect what you choose on the very page, on this index.html page where we are. Is going to affect only the things you choose on this page. Do we understand?
Yes, sir.
Oluwatosi, can you understand? Do you understand?
Yes, I'm trying to follow you.
No, you don't try. Follow me. Do you understand? If you don't,
Yes, I do.
I will explain.
I do.
Good. You know, let me say that again. Inline CSS affects the only element that you apply it on, as we see on line 20. Only this is heading 3 is the only thing that is affected. Now, but you cannot go ahead adding CSS on all the elements. We have, as you are building web application, you can have 2,000 lines of HTMLs. Does it mean you'll be adding 11111? No. Internal CSS is used to add CSS to whatever element on the page automatically. Then the last but not the least is the external CSS, which is a very superior way, a very advanced way and a very matured way to add CSS to your document. So let's see how internal CSS works. We've seen the inline. Let's see how the internal CSS works. Now, in internal CSS, I told you last week that if you look at the head tag, can we all see the head tag?
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
On line 3, and it's closed on line 9.
Nine.
Exactly. Okay. Then I say within the head tag, it contains special tags. These tags are not actually meant to appear, but they work at the background. One of the tags that will exist on the head tag is called the style tag. The style tag can be seen on line 6, and it is closed on line 8. Line 8. Forgive me, I stutter sometimes. I hope that's fine.
It is
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
Do you have any problem with that?
No.
Not at all.
I'm just joking. Okay. All right. So now
That is even what makes it sweeter.
Sorry?
That is what makes it sweeter.
Oh wow. I'm blushing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. So on line 6 to 8, we can see the style tag. And inside the style tag is where we are going to write our CSS, internal CSS. Now let us see how that works. Now, this on line 7 is the structure of a internal CSS, or a rule. Good. If you look at line CSS, you notice line 7, sorry, say line CSS. Line 7, you notice I try to write a comment the way I write it in HTML, but it did not, because it's inside a style tag, it's telling me it do not work. It's telling me this is not how to write a comment in CSS, because already I am within the CSS development environment. So far, I've written style tag, and I'm writing within the style tag. So in CSS, this is the way we write comments. 1, 2, 3, 4, that. This is CSS. Is that clear?
Yeah.
On line 7, you see how we write comments. The browser will neglect whatever we've rewritten there. Okay. Now, 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry. Now this is a CSS rule. How do you mean by CSS rule? First of all, you have what is called a selector. A selector, a property, and a value. If you can see from line 10 to line 12, this is what we call CSS rule. Selector, property, value, and that's a semicolon is followed that terminates the statement, because line 11 is a complete statement. Now, let us look at the different types of selectors that we have. There are many types of selectors we have in CSS, but we are going to look at 3 major types of selectors. 3 major types. of selectors in CSS. Now, when we say selector, what do we mean? When we say selector, what do we mean? If you look at your HTML document, you see tags. We added class, we added ID. Yes, the selector simply means what we use to locate the particular element we want to alter, we want to manipulate, we want to change the color, we want to increase. How do we know the element we want to use? Because in a particular web document or HTML document, there could be numerous H2s. There could be H4 in 1,000 places. There could be H5. There could be paragraph in 2,000 places. How do we know the one to use? How do we know how to get them where they are and make them red and make that one blue and separate that one and make that one increase in size? How do we know? We know by the instrumentality of a. Now, there are three main types of selectors in CSS. You can all see my screen, right?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I can see.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, I can see your screen. Yes, I can see your screen. Mr. Charles, you're muted though. Mr. Charles.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay, can you see?
Your screen has not shown yet too. Yeah, it just came up.
Okay. Is it up now?
Yeah, it's up now.
I want to be sure everybody is hearing me or seeing my screen.
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you.
Yes, we can see your screen. We can see your screen.
Can.
The participants, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, so
Yes, we
we
are.
can hear you, we can see your
Yes,
screen.
we can see.
Very good. So
Yes,
I say that. Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. So I say that there are three main types of CSS selectors. Number one, we have what is called tag selector. Two, we have what is called class selector. Three, we have what is called ID selector. Are we all here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Admin, are we all here?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you.
Internet, don't start to. Admin, are we all here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Mr. Charles. Mr. Charles, can you hear me? Okay, can everybody hear me while we are waiting for him? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Okay, great. Now, regarding the question, I think it was Mr. Daniel was asking that is a bit confused on how to remember all those tags, all those attributes and all those for elements. That is confused how to remember them. I think Mr. Charles did justice to answering that question, but you can still look at it from this perspective. Now, at every point, even as a senior developer, however number of years you have spent in this, Google is always your friend. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, I can hear you.
Google is always your friend. It's like the most important thing is just to the most important thing is to know what you need. So anytime you should most important things is to know that you know what you need. So anytime you need it, you can always, if you're confused on how to go about it, you can always ask Google. Okay, take for instance now, I walk up to the kitchen. I know at least cup is used to drink water, but I don't know where the cup is. I can't even remember where the cup is, but I know cup is used to drink water. So I can easily ask, okay, I can say, okay, ask Google, Google, please, where did you keep the cup? It will tell me this is the place where cup is, and I can pick up the cup and use it. So I mustn't remember every place, everything is in the kitchen, but I know what they are used for. But I know how to go about it. So I think you can use that logic to understand, to explain what I'm trying to say. You just have an idea. You mustn't know cram or know all the tags. They are too much for you to remember them. But you can always ask anytime you're stuck. You can always ask Google, and then you get, and then you move on. Mr. Charles, are you back?
Okay. Can we move? Can we move on now?
Yeah, please, we can move on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. I can hear you. Are you there, Mr. Charles? Are you there, Mr. Charles? Okay, while we are waiting for Mr. Charles, can we all hear me? Can we all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, great. So now he is in the stage of we are in CSS currently. That's the position where we are, and then he has given us 3 different ways that we can use CSS on a web page or on our document object model on our DOM. Now the first one is the inline CSS. What that one does is just like what he has shown us. You write the CSS on the element itself. So now I'm just trying to recap what he has said so that we can refresh our memory on while we are waiting for him. And now how that one works is this: the CSS, wherever
Everybody hear me now?
Oh, great. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, please. I don't know. I changed my internet, but it's still. Okay. So can we quickly go ahead?
Yeah, please, let's go ahead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I can hear you.
Can we go ahead?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, participants, you are all there, right?
Yes, sir.
Participants, are we all there?
Yeah.
We are here. We are here.
Okay. Now, let's quickly look at the 3 types of selectors that we have. Okay. So first of all, I said that we have what is called the tag selector. This is where we select an element by the name of the tag. Is that clear? Please,
Is
I
that
want to be
clear?
sure that you're hearing me.
Yes,
Is
it
that
is.
clear?
It is.
Oh.
We can hear you, Mr. Charles. It is clear.
Hello.
We can hear you, Mr. Charles. It is clear. It is clear.
Hello.
We can hear you, Mr. Charles. It is clear.
I think he has network issue.
Oh, okay. I'm not hearing from here. Okay, it's fine. So
yeah.
So I said, okay, I said that a tax selector is where you select the element.
Okay, I think we are losing Mr. Charles again from here, but no problems. Let me fill up for him until he comes. So
Okay, I'm here back. I'm back.
Okay, great.
I'm back. Okay. Okay, so the tax selector, as I said, is where we choose the element to style by the tag name, right? For example, you all can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, okay, let's look at, for example, let's look at line 26. Let's look at line 26. What do we have there? H4. So we want to style H4. Now, the magic that is going to happen here is that if we choose H4, it means that wherever there is H4 on this page is going to apply the same rule. Let us include another H4. Let's say, can you all see my screen? Yeah.
Yes, we are seeing it.
I didn't see my screen. Oh. Okay. Good. So let's say H41, H42, H43, and H44, you know. So on line 10, we say H4. Remember, it's within the style tag. Can you see it?
Yes. Yes, we can
Admin,
see
please
it.
confirm. Okay, good.
Yeah, we can see it. It's within the style tag, right? That's very important for us to take note of, right?
Exactly. Very, very important. Internal CSS must be within the style tag. So
but let me ask a question.
We want to
for everybody.
do the same thing we wrote. Okay. Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Admin, are you there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
You can go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
So let's basically write most of the things. Okay. Let's basically write most of the things that we wrote there. Okay. So we say font size. Remember, a rule is made up of a selector, a property, and a value. Do we remember?
Yeah, we do.
Good, good. So, but the reason we are using this style approach is because it's more dynamic. But the fact that we use tag selector in internal CSS and we use H4, it means that all the H4s in this page is going to have the same results. So font size, we say 40, let's say 30 pixels. You come down.
So
Please
please,
don't write it on a horizontal form.
Mr. Charles, Mr. Charles, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So for the benefit of
I
those
can
that
hear
do not
you.
understand, for the benefit of those that might have this question, what is the meaning of PX? What does it mean? Can I just decide to put AB? Does it have any special meaning?
Okay, sorry. Okay, let me tell us the meaning, please. Thank you for that. I will write it in a comment. PX means pixels. Is that clear?
Is that clear?
Can we see it?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. It is. It is clear.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. So let's say the same thing, text align.
So just to add up something,
Let's
just like the way
let's say left, so you see the difference.
Mr. Charles, please hold on. Sorry, just to add up something. Can you hear me? Just like what Mr. Charles said, that PX means pixels. It is just a unit of measurements. Just like you have meters to measure length or centimeters.
Exactly.
But you can't come and write meters here, because the programming language, that's not the syntax. It doesn't understand M. M is useless to it. So what he knows is pixels. Pixels is a unit of measurement. What is the size of the font size? It is measured in pixels.
All right, sir.
Please, you can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Let's move fast. Thank you for that, admin. I was moving fast and I omitted that. So let's move as fast as we can, while we also don't compromise your understanding. Okay. So let's say left, text align left. Let's just move it to left. Let's just write one more. Let's say, oh boy. Let's say text transform. In this case, we say capitalize. You know, the difference between, on line 27, look at line 27, I say text transform uppercase. And on line 13, I say text transform capitalize. The difference between 27 and 13 is that uppercase transforms all the letters into, it capitalizes all the letters. Capitalize on line 13 capitalizes only the first letter of each word. I hope that is clear. Can you also see my screen? I want to be sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can see your screen.
Okay, so let's see the browser. Remember, we are talking about an internal CSS. So let's see the browser. Do you notice how all the H4s we are styled? Do you notice?
Yes, we can notice.
Okay.
So personally, I can see that all the first words is capitalized from here. Then I can see that the size is bigger. They have the same uniform size. which is bigger than the regular size.
You notice what happened? Are we there?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
But you saw the change.
Hello, Mr. Charles, are you there? Mr. Charles, you're on mute. You're on mute. Are you there, Mr. Charles? I think we lost him already. Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
we can.
okay, he just came back. Can you hear me, Mr. Charles? Can you hear me, Mr. Charles?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, okay, great.
Internet, that's not funny how they messed up this thing. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Okay, so you can see how the changes have occurred on the screen, right?
No, your screen has not started sharing yet. It's still trying to come up.
Okay, let me check. Okay, so it will come up now, I guess. Already.
Okay, while we are waiting for Mr. Charles, I think he's still trying to come up. So he has introduced us to 3 patterns of writing CSS on a web page. He said the first one is the inline styling. The other one is the internal styling. And the last one is the external styling. Now, from the inline styling, it told us that all our styles is put inside the style attributes of the elements. It is inside the style attribute of the elements. Now, what it means is this, and the trouble with going that way is this. You have to be duplicating codes. You can't reshare the same. Can everybody hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm just trying to like recap what he has said and then broaden our knowledge about it. The trouble with that pattern is you can't share the same kind of codes among various different kinds of elements. Means if you want to modify a particular code, you have to look for all.
Can you hear me now? Hello, admin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you. Can you hear me, Mr. Charles? Can you hear me, Mr. Charles? Mr. Charles, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can we go ahead? We have little time left.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Admin?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. So quickly look at from line 12 to line 15, from line 10 to line 16 is what we refer to as a rule. Line 10 is the selector. Okay, I think I'm back now. So sorry for the interruptions. Hello.
Yeah, well, with you. We are with you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, wow. Listen, okay. I want us to borrow 10 minutes more. Our time is gone, but let's borrow 10, 15 minutes more. Are you there?
We can hear you, Mr. Charles. Are we agreeing to give Mr. Charles 10 to 15 more minutes? Do we agree on that?
Okay, good.
Are you there, Mr. Charles?
I'm here, please.
You have not
I'm
asked
here.
for their, you have not asked for their permission to borrow more time. Oh.
I have asked. Okay, can we borrow like 10 minutes more, please?
Let's talk. Oh. Are we giving him 10 more minutes?
At my end, granted, sir.
Okay. Tosin, do you want to give him 10 to 15 more minutes?
That's okay.
Oh, great. Okay. Mr. Wale, are we good,
Okay,
sir?
so let's go ahead. There's no time. Since people have agreed, please. Yes, we are good.
Okay,
Let's
good.
move. Okay, so that is for tag selector. Remember, it's made up of tag selector, a property, and a rule. Property. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yes, we
Okay.
can. See.
Property, rule, property, and rule. Now, let us look at another kind of selector. This is called this is called tag selector. Now let's look at another selector called the class selector. Class selector. Now in our document, we've declared an attribute called class. Do we remember?
Yes.
Admin,
yes.
please answer on their behalf. Do we remember?
Yes, we remember.
Good. So we are going to use that now. First of all, we have used the tag selector on line 11. On line 20, we are going to use the class selector. Now the class selector is going to select line 31. Now, how do we use the class selector in internal CSS? Remember, the value of the class attributes on line 21 is heading. The value of the class attributes on line 21 is heading. Now, heading is what we are going to use as class selector to select line 31 in CSS. How do we use that in CSS? To use a class selector in CSS, first of all, you write dots, then the value of the class selector. You make space, you introduce your curly brackets, and this is it. Does that make sense?
Does it make sense?
Yeah.
They're keeping quiet. Does this make sense?
Yes, it is.
This is called class selector. It's different. Good. The is different from tag selector. Okay, so we can apply the rules here now. We can say we can just give it the same thing, just change the values. We can see say font size just to make it faster. We can see say 50 pixels. We've defined what a pixel is. We can say text align or text transform. We can still say uppercase. We can say color. Okay, let's leave color out of it. Let's just say text align. Let's say right. Now, what is going to happen here is that this is going to select only line 34. Now, let's see. 34 is, this is H1. Let's see how that works. This is H1. Can you all see what happened? Admin, can they see what happened?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see what's happening.
You see, there are many rules we can apply. Yes. There are many rules we can apply, but this is just a demonstration of what CSS can do. Then by next week, we're going to put it together to see how we're going to use it to build an actual web application. Web application, okay? Good. Now, but there's something here. I told you that the class selector can be applied in different places. Class selector can be applied in different places. It means that we have this class selector on line 34. Can you see line 34? Check line 34 and check line 41. Can you all see it? Can they see it?
If this thing continues, what?
Can you see line 41?
Yes.
Okay, listen, we are not yet done. I want to be sure we see line 441, please. Admin, can you confirm? Hello?
We can see it, or I can. We can.
Okay, if you can see it, I'm fine. Okay, so you notice that we have the same selector or attribute on line 41 and on line 34. If you check our browser, the same rule apply to this, which is on line 41, and this, which is on line 34. I overheard the admin telling you how to make Google your best resource. So you are not meant to cram all this, but as time goes on, you learn how to ask intelligent questions, and you will receive the answer you are looking for. Is that clear?
Yes.
Good. So let's quickly go into the last but not the least of the things we are looking at this night. Let's look at the ID selector. The ID selector. And we'll end with that. The ID selector. Now, this on line 37 is where we defined an attribute ID and we gave it a value of heading 2. Now, the challenge or the difference with ID or the unique thing about ID is that you cannot reuse it. It's unique. We cannot use heading 2 elsewhere. Is that clear? Oluwatosi, can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you.
Mr. Charles, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here, please. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, good. Good. So let's quickly look at ID selector and we'll round up in two minutes. So I'm going to introduce it and expand on it, and we'll round it up by next week. But no, by next week, we are going to be doing a project, a live project after we round this thing up on building a basic website using HTML and CSS. I promise you, our internet is going to improve. Last week we did not have this kind of issue, but next week we're not going to have this kind of issue again. You know, I'll be working on that to make it perfect. Okay. Thank you for your understanding. Now, in defining an ID selector, this is the way you do it. The selector, you write things that looks like this, a hash, and the value of the ID. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Good. So in conclusion, let me just, okay, good. Let me add color so I can differentiate these things. Okay, no problem. Let me do this. Let me just copy this. Let me just copy this and paste it here and change the value, change it to 60, change it to capitalize, change this to center, change this to blue or green. Good. As a matter of fact, if you look at line 15, you will see where I use example of a hexadecimal code. We are going to do justice to this as we go on line 15. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, this is on line 27. This is called an ID selector. Line 19, class selector. Line 11, tag selector. Okay, tag selector, ID selector, and class selector. Now you notice that when we go to the browser, we are going to see line 44. Line 44, affected. What we wrote 27 to line 31. Is that clear? Now let's go to the screen, to the browser, and check out. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yeah, can see your screen.
Yes, can see.
Good. So this is just a demonstration of a CSS and how they work at a glance in a page. So by next week, in the first 10 minutes of our lecture, we are going to do the external CSS, which is not difficult. By understanding from line 11 to line 32, we have done great justice to CSS. So the assignment I'm going to give you is not much, just like what I gave you last week. Now, go back to that link I sent to you. I'm going to drop it again here. The link is this. This is the link. Let me type it so you see it. w3schools.com. Can you see line 7? Can you all see it? Line 7.
Yes, I can see it.
You can also drop it in the chat.
Good, please.
You can drop it in the chat section.
Yes. Please, I beg you. Yes, I beg of you. The internet is there for you. Most of the things we know, we learned from there. The knowledge is open. It's open. Go there and read about HTML. Go there and read about CSS. Read about CSS rules. Read about CSS selectors. Then compare it to what I have taught you this night. There is no difference. It will help you. Please don't visit any other sites. Visit W3 schools to avoid getting yourself confused. Is that clear, please?
Yes, it's clear.
Hello, can you all hear me as we conclude?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
So in conclusion, this is your assignment for me. Yes, in conclusion, this is your assignment. Go to that page, read about the tags HTML, run some codes there, read about CSS, run some codes there. When you come back next week, we are going to look at external CSS. We are going to design a small website, you know, well designed, as in we are going to be logical about it. Then I give you a project, expect a project by next week. You are going to submit the upper week. So after that, we go into other advanced subjects, okay? Thank you for your time. Thank you very much. Remember that practice makes perfect. And then I will be glad to see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Charles. Thank you for your time, and thank you for making us to have a very wonderful training session for today. We are grateful. Hope, is anybody having any quick question, or that's any area that you just need, like we have 5 minutes. We have 3 to 5 minutes to conclude on that. If there's any question that we have to ask. Does anybody have any question? I can't hear from anybody. Can we talk?
I don't have questions for now because I'm actually sleeping. So, well, hopefully during the week, I should be able to ask questions on the group. That's allowed, right?
Very well, exactly.
All right, thank you.
Very well, okay. So we assume that we are fine at this level for now, and let's the questions start coming in at the group section. And then he talked about the W3 schools. Please, it is very important. Let's go through all the contents we have there for HTML and all the contents that we have there for CSS. It's very, very important. Let's do that during the week so we can equip ourselves more better for that program. Thank you very much for today.
Sorry, excuse me.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm with you, sir.
Do we have peradventure record this training section for a review?
Yes, we'll be dropping the link as soon as we're through. We're recording it.
All right, no problem.
Yeah, we'll drop the link immediately we are through this night.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. Right, thank you, everybody. I hope we enjoy our sleep tonight.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Good night, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Good night,
everybody.
Yeah, good night. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Charles.
Thank you so much, Mr. Charles. Good night,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Good night, sir.